everyone, and thank you for joining us for our final session of Season 3 of the Niagara Chamber Partnerships Road to Recovery series. My name is Rebecca Shelley, and I'm the Executive Director of the Grimsby and District Chamber of Commerce. I am truly delighted to welcome each of you on behalf of the Niagara Chamber Partnership. The NCP, as we call it for short, is a collaboration between the Fort Erie, Grimsby, Lincoln, Niagara Falls, Niagara-on-the-Lake, Port Colborne, Wainfleet, Welland, Pelham, and West Lincoln Chambers, as well as the Niagara Board of Trade and Commerce. You can see why we shorten it to NCP. The NCP's Road to Recovery series brings in-depth and informative conversations with industry leaders and experts from across Niagara and beyond on a variety of topics that are relevant to our members and to our wider business communities. Today, we'll be hearing from our excellent panelists about best practices in transitioning and implementing a successful digital program. Before we get started, though, I have the honor of introducing Paul Robertson of the Employment Help Center as our moderator for today's session. Paul recently took over the role of Executive Director with Employment Help Center, or EHC, in Niagara West. He previously spent 6 years with EHC as a job developer, connecting employers and job seekers in the community. Prior to his time in employment services, Paul spent 10 years as a commercial insurance broker in Hamilton and Burlington. He also served as president of the West Lincoln Chamber of Commerce from 2019 to 2022. In his spare time, Paul runs a not-for-profit basketball club in Waterdown, where he also coaches youth ages 9 to 18. Paul looks forward to the opportunity to ensure EHC provides the services needed in the communities they serve and looking for growth opportunities for the organization. Paul is a longtime champion of the Chamber Network, and we are thrilled he could be part of our discussions today. Over to you, Paul, to get things started.
Thanks, Rebecca. Happy to be here and to host this wonderful event. I took part in, I think, the first series as a speaker, so it's great to be here to be able to moderate today. Let me take, we're just going to take a minute and introduce our panelists for today, Louis DePalma, Evelyn Bailey, and Shannon Lapointe. Louis, would you mind doing a little self-introduction of yourself? Just tell us a little bit about yourself, your role in your organization.
Well, I'm the Vice President of SME Programs at the Ontario Chamber of Commerce, and we run a number of programs for small businesses from diversity and inclusion to what we call the SWIP program, where we help companies hire post-secondary students, to a digital adoption program, which will be quite I'll speak to that more as this webinar unfolds.
Great, thanks, Louis. And Evelyn, how about yourself? A little bit about yourself, your role, your organization.
Yes, hello, my name is Evelyn Bailey. I just changed it to Evelyn Bailey Art. I am an artist. I've been an artist my whole life. And I currently run a production company. So I've taken my art completely digital. I have a degree in the arts and I embodied the digital world a long time ago. But recently being able to level up technology and actually start to play in the game of technology as an artist. As I mentioned, I'm the CEO of a production company called Enlightened Art Production. I'm currently at Spark Innovation right now, just really getting connected to the innovative minds of the future, especially surrounded technology. As an artist, I've not been afraid to embody and embrace all aspects of technology, and I've seen the benefits of that, which we'll talk about. But yeah, I definitely play the role of just bringing people's visions to life and being able to have the diversity of very unique technology to be able to do so. And then bringing a team along the way. So yeah, that's me, and I cannot wait to share more, and I'm really excited to be a part of this panel.
Great, thanks, Evelyn. Looks like Shannon may have just briefly dropped off this call, so hopefully she's able to reconnect. Oh, she's reconnecting, dots are still working. I think we got Shannon back.
I'm sorry, I had a lot of trouble connecting and I couldn't hear anybody, so now I'm on my phone. So
thank you for getting back on. I think we're all accustomed to these hiccups these days. Shannon, we were just going around having everybody introduce themselves, so if you wouldn't mind just telling us a little bit about yourself, your role, and your organization.
So my name is Shannon Lapointe. I'm the owner of the Synergy Niagara Health and Aesthetics Clinic in downtown Niagara Falls. So that's a collection of businesses all in one location. So within, sorry, within the clinic, I own two separate incorporated companies. So the one is Revitalize Your Health Urinary and Sexual Health Center. So I help people with erectile dysfunction, urinary leakage, things like that. So I became a continence advisor in order to help people with those issues. I'm already a respiratory therapist, anesthesia assistant, and I work in the hospital. The other business I own within the clinic is Bare Aesthetics and painless laser hair removal. So I do laser hair removal, Botox, filler, facials, all the aesthetic type of things like teeth whitening. So those are my two businesses. And then I rent out rooms to other businesses to locate within the clinic. So there's several other businesses in the clinic as well.
Great.
That's about it.
Thanks, Shannon. Okay, let's jump into the meat and potatoes of today. So I'm going to start with Louis. First, just can you tell us a little bit about the Canada Digital Adoption Program that you're championing?
Yeah, thanks, Paul. It's we started the program in the spring. We were fortunate to be successful in being chosen as one of the delivery partners for that program. It's a cross Canada program. We're one of the delivery partners in Ontario. What we do with the program is a couple of things. It helps businesses with their digital adoption through supporting them with a up to $2,400 grant to either put on e-commerce on their website or to support the enhancement of their already e-commerce capable website. In addition to that, we have a host of digital advisors that we've trained. There's about 80 of them that we employ on an ongoing basis as part of this project. And those advisors will provide guidance and support to businesses that are interested in learning more about how to adopt an e-commerce platform and how to grow their business through the adoption of those digital assets. In addition to the program that we run, there's another program under CDEP called Boost Your Business that I think folks may be interested in. That program is run through the folks at Magnet at Toronto Metro University, and what that program it offers businesses is they can access up to a $100,000 interest-free loan through the program. They can also access a $15,000 grant to develop a digital strategy, and in addition to that, they can also help get funding up to $7,300 to hire an individual to help implement their digital strategy. So you can see between the two programs, there's a lot of support there for small businesses to adopt digital technology that will help their businesses grow. As we've seen throughout the pandemic, it became very important for businesses to pivot depending on the sector they were in, as customers became more familiar with and using online transaction platforms in order to secure goods and services.
Wonderful. Thanks, Louis. Curious, Evelyn, Shannon, have either of you tapped into the CDAP, or are there any other micro grant programs that you've tapped into to help with your digital transformation?
I did apply to CDAP for both my businesses. It's been slightly frustrating experience with the application process, just having to resubmit the same documents over again. But I did get approved for Revitalize so far. I'm not sure about Bare Aesthetics, but so I did work with my web designer. So I have a guy who does websites for all three of the businesses that I run, like the clinic itself and each individual. And so I did reach out to him and asked, what would it take for me to be able to have an e-commerce platform? So I kind of used his quote through my application to apply for the grant for Revitalize. Now, largely what I do is service-based, but I do sell some products, and I'm trying to expand that part of the business because I know that people want to be able to have the convenience to order from home, to be able to order online. So I'm trying to bring that in. It's just not quite as easy just because I'm largely service-based, but there are products that I sell, so I'm looking to improve that.
Wonderful. Evelyn, yourself, have you looked at tapping into CDAP, other micro grants, and how was the experience?
So I actually haven't looked into CDAP. I think I should, being pretty educated in this call. So I'm always open to saying that I have ignorance in certain areas, and So I definitely would love to apply. I have received a grant with the enterprise company down here. I know Shannon is also in that program. So I did receive a recent micro grant of actually 5,000, which isn't so small in my world. And I was able to completely upgrade my technology. I'm a technology-based artist, but I felt like I was driving, and forgive my ignorance with cars, but like a Honda Civic. And now I feel like I have the Ferrari of technology. So it has made the world of a difference in my capacity to produce quality work. I was unable to take on a lot of projects because my computer would crash and my technology would fail. So now I have the technology that allows me to play around with 3D art, like just take all my work into a whole different play field, which then levels up the quality of art that I'm able to produce for clients and for brands and for businesses that are trying to look and stand out. So it has 1000%, for the sake of the grant, was specifically towards not necessarily online marketing, but it was specific towards what's physical that would improve a business. And in my case, what the physical thing was just completely getting a new system altogether. And I was able to get, it's hard to see with the screen, but I was able to get a very large drawing screen with the computer that I'm on right now. So it's 24 inches of drawing space. And as an artist who still maintains my traditional approach to art, it's tons of real estate. I've got the pen in front of me right now. And it's just a lot of, beyond just doing business as an artist, it's important that I continue to activate the parts of my brain that is creative. And, I find that technology sometimes can get in the way of allowing you to flow. But now with this technology, it's enhanced my ability to perform. And so, yeah, I would say that my experience has been absolutely amazing. And I would share that with anyone, especially artists. We don't need it for materials necessarily. We don't need it for canvases. If we could see the value of taking a business digitally and then looking into other grants to then see how can I benefit the platforms, because every file that I export is ready for these platforms. It's meant for it. So it would be really interesting to work with, some of those aspects and continue to integrate more, technology, digital approaches to my business as well. So yeah, I've been nothing but positive feedback, and I'm very humbled by the experiences of being able to get a grant and have people who believe in some of our startup companies. But yeah, and I would recommend anyone to apply for any opportunity to grow. I know it could be difficult, but I felt like it was months before I got the grant, and it went through a whole educational program, but it was worth it. So it was definitely worth it.
Great. Why I'll stay with you actually, Evelyn. Why do you feel it was time to implement that digital strategy, and like what were some of the what has your strategy been in
Yes. So before COVID came around, I was doing a lot of in-person live. Oh,
I think we're trying to power up Evelyn here before we lose her.
I'm not sure what just happened.
You're still with us.
I can still, yeah, okay, there we are. Yeah, my screen needed to be charged. So the benefit for me, my challenges was being in COVID. Can everybody still hear me? We're good?
Yeah, no problem.
Perfect. So my challenge was being that I was a very in-person live art, art galleries and art shows. Like it was very much in-person events. As soon as COVID came around, I had no choice but to go back to a foundation. I have kids. I'm a single mother of twin boys. I really had to look at where the future was going, and not just for my business, for other businesses, as a service, as someone who serves other businesses with my skill set, with my talent, with my team. It was also very clear where everyone else was going, and digital, everyone was revamping or going back onto a digital platform. So it just made sense. But what made sense for me to go in that direction was to level up my technology. I could not take that strategy would not have existed. Everything centered around technology. My strategy was based around, if I get this technology, here's what will happen. If that doesn't come in, then I'm stuck trying to figure this out. And the metrics and the numbers and the data and the research will show that a business in this time like that as an artist just will not succeed, and not, at least not in my shoes. So that the strategy came by almost like survival instinct. But I also, as an artist, I have a very overstimulated creative imagination. And it was just a matter of, getting grounded to a vision, And then finding the mentorship and the people who have taken some of those paths. Although I'm paving my own path here, I'm also aware that there are so much value to coaches and mentorship that the programs did offer. They offered a ton of mentorship and perspectives that I just hadn't seen. And so the strategy became leveling up technology, and then as well as, expanding my horizons, because there's what I don't know what I don't know. And so the more I discovered the connections and the opportunities, the more I said, this is it. This is my next 5-year game plan. And whether it looks difficult in the beginning, I'm pretty clear that this is set up to win. So yeah, so that was sort of my strategy and going in that situation. So might need you to mute me because something's still going on with my screen to move on to the next, but that's just my experience. And thank you so much for asking.
No problem. Shannon, how about yourself? Why did you feel that this was the time that you needed to implement that digital strategy, and what were some of the strategies that you did implement?
For me, it was slightly different just because I'm so service-based. Like, I guess to start with, when I first started my first business, I did my own website. I put it out there, it worked. I got people contacting me through it, but it just wasn't as professional as it needed to be. So then I went to, okay, I need somebody who can develop a website for me that knows how to do this stuff. Like, yeah, I can figure some things out, but I wanted it more professional. So the first step I did was hire somebody to help me do a more professional website. He ended up doing 3 websites for me because I ended up with 3 companies. So that was one part of it. And then getting found, right? So the things that I do are not, okay, so aesthetics, that's quite common. There's a lot of competition. So yes, you need to be found, but you need to stand out in comparison to the other businesses that are there. And then there's things like your SEO and just the content on your sites, making sure it's like up to date and current and that you're adding to it. Another big piece for me was digital, like social media marketing and things like that. So the next thing I did was hire a digital marketing agency. So when I did start a company plus and got a $5,000 grant, I focused the money to do that because I needed somebody who could, really understand all the ad platforms and not just organic posting, but paid ads that got in front of the people who actually want my service. Because like I said, like the things I do for Revitalize Your Health anyway, they're sort of unknown, like a men's sexual health clinic. Like there is no other clinic in Niagara. People don't know I exist. They don't know what I have to offer. Continence advisor services, another thing that's really hard to find. So I needed exposure. So, marketing company, that was important to me. So I'm there, and so they've been great. The next thing that I needed was CRM. So for me to be able to track and, sort of follow my clients, that was super important because they fall through the cracks. When you've got 50 clients, you can keep track of that. But when you have 500 clients, it's no longer feasible to keep track of that in your own mind. At first, I started this spreadsheet, which was not a bad idea. But again, it's just too labor intensive to keep track of 500 people on this spreadsheet, right? So then I hired a receptionist to help me. We implemented a CRM program through Keep. So that's been super helpful. And there's a lot of automations through that. And it connects to my website. And every time somebody contacts me, they become a contact. And then the automation can help take over, follow-ups and things like that. So nobody slips through the cracks. I also did improve the technology. So I use Apple products, but I'm paperless in the clinic. Okay, there's no paper whatsoever. Consent forms, treatment records, everything is online. So having an iPad, for example, for clients to fill out consent forms and surveys and outcome measures, that was important part of like my business. And then now with CDAP, what I'm focusing on is having e-commerce, so being able to sell through my website and how that's going to work. And then as well as SEO. So my web designer, he's going to adapt my website so I can sell online and then also improve my SEO so that I'm found better, right? Like SEO is something that people, I think, overlook and don't realize that you need to keep spending money and you need to keep working on that or you'll fall down in the rankings and things. So I don't have like the best understanding of all this stuff. It's not at all what I went to school for. So I do look for companies that have this expertise, and that helps me because I can't be a digital marketer and a web designer and a health person and all these things all at once. So it's taken some time to find the right people to help me in my business, but the grants have definitely helped me, because some of it, you know, like Evelyn said, like, you don't know what you don't know, and going through all the training and education through these programs has been really helpful to me. I also have a business coach, Peter Brown, and I'm part of Table of Captains. So we meet with other business owners once a month. So that's also been helpful for me to grow my business. But, you know, adopting digital strategies to attract and follow clients and be able to sell online and keep sort of current is super important, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Shannon. Yeah. And I think you touched on something really important there with the SEO. You know, there's so many free products out there, or affordable products for web development, designing your own web page, but it really takes a continued effort and a certain knowledge base as well to get yourself to appear, you know, on the first page of Google, as opposed to, you know, the fourth or fifth page. And if we don't keep up with that, then we're not going to get that get noticed. Thanks. So Louis, what are you and your team at the OCC hearing from businesses about their greatest challenge when it comes to implementing digital strategy?
Thanks, Paul. Maybe I can comment a little bit about what Evelyn and Shannon said and how the program helps. You know, basically what we heard is from a typical small business that is looking to adopt digital technology. From the comments we've heard from the two other panelists, the program itself helps in every area that the two spoke about. So whether you're talking SEO, whether you're talking the implementation of a CRM, whether you're taking a look at some back office software to support that e-commerce strategy, whether social media costs, you know, all part of the program, all eligible on the program, and the funding that you get through the grant can be put towards those activities. With respect to I just want to comment on Shannon. Shannon, you said you found the application a little bit challenging. And what we have found over the years when we've run any program is that small businesses really understand and they're very good at what they do. But because you don't fill out applications every day, it's not something that's right at the top of your wheelhouse. So to help that along, we do have a support service that we offer. If any business is looking to put in an application and is stuck in any way, shape, or form, they can send us an email. They can, you know, call us up, and we'll provide the support and advice to make sure that the right documents get into the system so that we can do a quick adjudication and review of that application and provide hopefully an approval for them. I just wanted to comment on that because it seems like what, you know, Evelyn and Shannon are doing are very nicely aligned with the support that both Boost Your Business and Grow Your Business under the CDAP umbrella would support. And you know, we're hearing that and we're seeing that from businesses across Ontario. They're coming in for very similar types of supports through the program. They're asking us questions about, you know, adopting digitization. You know, we're not the 100% experts on this, but we could certainly direct them to folks that are, and that's what we do. So we kind of are a bit of a connector there. You know, when it comes again to adoption, it's difficult sometimes for small businesses because they may not have the capacity. You know, you don't have, you know, 5 or 6 different departments. You don't have a digital adoption department that you can go to help with that. So it's really important, and you know, and great to hear the comments again from the other two panelists, how they went out and they sourced support and they sourced advice from experts. I think that's really, really important, and I'm seeing that and hearing that when I'm talking to businesses across Ontario, where they're saying to me, "Well, what should I really do? You know, what's important for me?" And it's, you know, it's hard for me to tell you. You really need to take a look at your own business, take a look at where you are today, take a look at where you want to be 12 months from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. How does that fit into your strategy? How does moving digital help with that strategy? Because we all know and we've all seen that digital adoption leads to increased productivity. It definitely leads to making a company more resilient and more competitive. You know, whether you're competing in your local market, your regional market, national market, or international market, you know, that adoption is certainly extremely important. The other thing we're hearing from businesses is the training of their own staff, right? Because as you adopt digitization, and then and then you have a lot of small businesses that are owner operators. They may not necessarily have a lot of staff. So it's really important to get that training so that they can better understand, not that they need to do it, but you need to understand what's available. You need to understand what the digitization can do for your business so that you can ask the right questions as you're moving forward with your strategy.
2.5 years into this, and I still forget to unmute myself. Thanks, Louis. Maybe actually, we've got a little bit of time. Louis, is there possible for you to talk maybe about some of the qualifications for CDAP?
Absolutely, I can talk about that. So the first thing we do when a company applies to us, the first thing we do is we want to validate the company, right? So we do ask for some basic documentation, whether it's a GST document, whether it's an incorporation document, whether it's a master business license. We just want to take a look that this is a valid business that's applying for the grant. The other thing that we look at is the eligibility under the program itself. And it's changed slightly recently for the better, actually, in terms of the types of companies that could apply. So you need to be a for-profit business. That's a requirement. So if you're not for profit, unfortunately, you can't apply under this program. You have to be a registered business or an incorporated business. You have to be consumer facing. So if you're a B2B business where you're selling to other companies, you won't necessarily be eligible under this program. So you have to be selling directly to consumers. You have to have at least one employee, okay, or have a minimum of 30,000 in sales. And what changed just recently is how we validate that. What we've put in place within the last couple of weeks to make it easier for the businesses that are applying for the grant is we have a form, we have an attestation form, and what the companies all need to do is just sign the form saying, yes, I do have that one employee, or I do have that minimum level or threshold of revenue. Prior to that, we tried to validate the one employee through payroll slips, which is becoming a challenge for the businesses. So we were quite pleased to get that attestation form in place just to help them through that process. So the program itself, like I said earlier, has a lot of things that it can do to help the businesses adopt digital technology. The key is this, though, when they're applying, if I could add a bit of a comment as to what we're seeing. We're seeing the actual projects that the companies are sending us aren't as specific enough as we would like to see. So that results in some going back and forth with the company to better understand what it is they're trying to do. Shannon, you talked about, going to working with a web designer and working with an agency to help you. If you're working with an organization like that, it's really nice to get their advice and support, perhaps even send a quote in with your application so we can better understand what you're doing so we can get you through the process quicker.
Yeah, I found the application was easy. And I included the quote from the web designer for both companies. I put my articles of incorporation, I used my QuickBooks payroll, but then they came back and asked for some of those same things again. And I thought, well, I know they uploaded, they accepted it, and like my articles of incorporation are the articles, like I don't have to do it, right? So, and then in the end, they approved one company without sending further things and the other one not yet. So I'm just confused. And then there was something about an email issue. So I don't know if on the within your program itself, if it was having trouble accepting documents or something. So they wanted them emailed to a different email. And so anyway, Mexico. So it was a little bit tricky where I left.
Shannon, you got caught, Shannon, in a little glitch that we had. What do they say? Technology is great when it works. Yeah, we had a bit of an email glitch where which is getting resolved now, where the documents that were being uploaded and the emails that we're receiving weren't being synced to the application itself. So we had to do a workaround until the technology got fixed. So it's just a temporary glitch, which we will get over because, we want to make sure that it's a much smoother, experience for the company that's applying. That's the goal, right? The goal is to make sure that we make it as simple as possible with respect to that. So, I will say should be fixed very shortly, okay? because it's something that you know, our platform provider is working on right now. But you know what you did, sending the quote, was, it's absolutely terrific, because that really clarifies what it is that you're trying to do. Because, you know, when we get an application that will say SEO, that's all we get, right? It's hard for us to understand what it is that the business wants to do. That's why we always suggest contact us first. We'll walk you through it. The whole idea is to help you get through the whole process. You know, years ago when we opened up our first grant program, I remember it was a trade program, and what we did is you know, we hung out our shingle, we put up our website, you know, and 3 months later we hadn't approved an application. And you know what we quickly learned was again, businesses are very, very, very good at what they do. They're not very, very good necessarily in filling an application, because you don't do it very often. So that's when we started kind of that support and consulting services. And as soon as we started that, we found that the businesses got through the process much quicker. So again, I really encourage any businesses that are listening today, email us first, give us a call. We'll tell you exactly what it is you need to put into that application to get through the process quicker.
Great, thanks. Any aside for Evelyn, Shannon, aside from the actual application process itself, what did you find were your greatest challenges once you did obtain these grants?
I mean, so I've gotten several grants over the years. You know, there's always a bit of education in the beginning usually, and then some paperwork, some things you have to, you know, promise. And yeah, they make sure you're a legit company and you're doing what you say. You've got to prove, you know, send in receipts and things for the things you bought or the services you know, outsourced. But I didn't find any of it really challenging after that. Like once you're approved and you go through the application and the contract, I didn't really find it was difficult at all. It's been great. It's helped me a lot. And I'm always sort of looking for resources for small business, you know, because it's difficult in the beginning. And, you know, you think, oh, I don't have much overhead, or you know, these are my expenses. And very quickly you realize those aren't your only expenses if you want to succeed, right? Like marketing is a massive undertaking and it's expensive, very expensive. And, you know, I had a conversation with my son. He's like, how are you not making any money? I'm like, I'm making money, but you've got to spend money to be found so people know about you so you can make more money, you know, and it's a lot of people I think don't even understand that. So, you know, it's been challenging, but the grants have been super helpful and, you know, they've been great. And the BIA has been great too. They helped me with the Digital Main Street grant, which I received that as well. And I did, you know, Starter Company Plus. I did Win This Space. That was how I came to be located in downtown. So I've, you know, I apply for lots of things. So I'm always looking, and I always learn things when I apply to these grants. It's not just about like, oh, I want free money. No, I want to build my business and do it in a smart way. And there's always some sort of education around that to help. And I can see, like, I have friends who've owned businesses before I ever did, and they don't do any of these things. And they're still like a very small, unknown business. She's doing everything, you know, so there's a difference if you make the effort to learn this stuff.
Absolutely. Evelyn, challenges?
I would say that, I mean, I haven't submitted as many applications to have received as many grants, but I will say that the most challenging is the waiting process, is really waiting for the grants, because I find that when you first get started, you're excited and you're like, okay, yeah, I have a good chance. My application went through. It feels good. I qualify. And then you're like, okay, like, I don't know what to plan for though. Like, I don't know when it's coming, or not that it's not. Like the last one took quite a few months. Like I started the application process. By the time I received the grant, it was the next year. So that felt like a really long stretch. But because we went through a course and a program, so it was understandable. But then even the course was finished and it still took a while for the processing of it all, and just being like a, you know, young and not young, but just being a new business and really getting excited. I need this technology. I had a waiting list of clients that I had said, just wait, let me get this new technology. I don't want to service you until I get the quality that I need. And so that was my challenge, was having a bit of that uncertainty as when is it going to get here, so I could physically plan things out. But I mean, it's not a huge challenge. It was just, I felt that was the thing that to me was It tested my patience, but I had been so patient. It was such a long process that I felt like, you know, I want to take advantage of this already. But then humbled by the learning and what I needed so that it was, but the purchasing of the items was, you know, for me, it was 2 items and it was, everything else was easy. Accountability, I find, is always great. It does suck to have to submit these accountability structures, but me, it just keeps me on track with what a business needs to be doing. So yeah, that's the biggest challenge for me, at least.
Okay, great. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Louis. How can people access CDAP?
Well, go to the Ontario Chamber of Commerce website, occ.ca, go to programs, and then click on CDAP. So what you'll see there is you'll see the program guide. It'll explain how the program works, the eligibility criteria, what activities are that will fund under the grants portion of it. It'll also, there's a Q&A section which will answer hopefully many of your questions. And again, if there's other questions, just please email us. Happy to help you out. In addition to that, on the site, you'll see a link there. You click to the link and that'll take you to the registration page, which will take you to the application itself.
Great, thanks, Louis. Shannon, how can people get in contact with you, find your business online?
So Revitalize Your Health is www.revitalizeyourhealth.ca, and Bare Aesthetics is barepainlesslaser.com, because that was my original operating name. So I've got the 2 different emails. The Synergy Niagara .ca is the clinic as a whole. So if there's a business interested in joining the clinic, I've really only got 1 out of 10 rooms left. The clinic's otherwise full, but so there's a few ways to reach me, but my email info@revitalizeyourhealth.ca is probably the quickest way.
Great, thanks. And Evelyn, yourself, how can we find you online?
So I would say that the easiest thing to do is to just go to my Instagram handle. If anyone has Instagram, just follow me as a human. I have my connections to my website through those accounts, and you know, I'm very accessible through those platforms. But without complicating and giving you my enlightenedart.ca.com, enlightenedart.ca is my business's portfolio. But through Instagram, if you just find Eva Bailey Art, you'll get a lot of me. You'll get a bit of my business, a little bit of my actual art. Like I just did a really fabulous mural in actually a beauty shop. It just showcases a bit of my talent, and then it allows people to get to know me. And then again, business comes from after that point. I feel that's when business will probably come, or just connections, of course. So absolutely. I invite everybody to follow, and it helps to have a little bit of extra engagement as well. So, and I'd love to support anybody who does find me through these avenues. I would love to follow back and sort of just have you fall in my algorithms, and to eventually, you know, see what connections can come from those. So.
Great, thank you. Any final thoughts from the 3 of you? Anything we missed? Anything our viewers should know?
No, I think all these programs are really great. I was thankful to find the CDAP program. I actually had been on the Chamber of Commerce website. I think it was that website or another that I indicated interest in grants. And I got an email from the Chamber of Commerce saying, you indicated being interested in such and such a grant. It's now open. And that's what actually alerted me to it. But no, I think it's great. And I'm thankful for all the help as a small business owner.
Yeah, no, I actually found the link, and I've already started the application process during the call. So I've been multitasking a little bit, but I've made it as far as now getting, you know, getting to know my digital maturity, evaluating my maturity. And so far it's a pretty seamless process. I've been able to do this multitasking. So I'm excited. I will be submitting the application and hopefully being able to see how, you know, I can continue to increase the strategies of the business. But final comments is, yeah, all businesses definitely benefit from the digital platform. I'm an artist. It was very, you know, I have a lot of people in my world who are afraid of getting into technology because art could seem so far. But when we really embrace it, we can truly see the benefits. I'm on the cusp of really embracing AI technology and, you know, saying like, how can I integrate AI into my business so that certain things can become more seamless and I can deliver more of what I'm here for. And so I'm on that place as well of considering, it's the benefits of that. And I invite anybody to consider the same.
Paul, maybe I could add, I know we're talking about digital technology today, but there is another program that the businesses out there may be interested in that we run through the Ontario Chamber of Commerce and supported through a lot of marketing from local chambers. Is we call it the TOP program. It's really a student work placement program where we support a business that wants to hire a post-secondary student, and depending on the demographic of the student, we'll fund that student at the company over a 16-week period for either up to 50% or $5,000 or 70% up to $7,000. So I think the businesses out there may be interested in that because it'll provide them with additional staff capacity that may even help them with their digital adoption. So the two are kind of complementary and supportive. So I would suggest that businesses also source the criteria for that program on the Ontario Chamber of Commerce website. So just go to the occ.ca, click on programs, and then click on TOP, and it'll get the program guide and all the do's and don'ts about applying for that program. Another very well-received program, and we're seeing businesses taking advantage of both programs because they are complementary.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you to all of our panelists today, Louis, Shannon, Evelyn. Great to hear about your businesses, the growth of your businesses, the opportunities out there, and your creativity and being able to access these grants to better your businesses. So thank you, Louis, for the OCC support in business as always across the province. On behalf of our Niagara Chamber Partnership, I'd like to thank all of our panelists over the past 3 weeks. We're very proud to have presented some meaningful information to our members, and we hope you've enjoyed the sessions, and we encourage you to access the recordings from your local chamber website. Thanks, and make it a great day.
Thank you. You too.